everybody. I'm not here with great news. I saw this article about writer Bill Messner-Loebs on Twitter and Facebook. Bill wrote a ton of comics for Marvel and DC back in the 80s and the 90s. I mean, look at all that. I could barely fit it on the screen. And by the way, he did it with one arm. I mean, he's literally missing an arm, not that that would affect his writing. I bet it made drawing a bitch though. He also worked on the Max, which was later turned into an MTV show. He had a few books in the late 90s and a handful of books in the early 2000s, including a creator-owned book called Journey. Unfortunately, Bill didn't get much work after the mid-90s. According to an article written by Derek Kevra, Bill's been homeless for years. From the article, quote, "After the Max, Bill and his wife Nadine moved into a nice house, but life happens and disease spares no one. Bill's mom got sick, then his wife got sick. Like any house, there were issues that required money to fix. Before he knew it, his max money was more like minimum money. September 2001 was when he finally lost his house and was evicted. The date? September 11th, 2001. It gets worse. Quote, Bill found a new home after that, a mobile home in a nice mobile home park where neighbors look out for each other. He and Nadine lived there for over 15 years until another disaster struck. While receiving the Bill Finger Award in San Diego Comic-Con, the Super Bowl of Comic-Cons, Bill learned that a gas leak sprouted at his house. Upon arriving at the scene, the fire marshal declared that the premises was unlivable and Bill and Nadine agreed. There goes house number 2. So now Bill goes from church to church with his car as a placeholder in between. He works part-time for Panera and just recently started picking up janitorial work at one of the churches. It's unbelievable. It's not just Bill's situation. That could happen to anyone. It's also that this man is fully capable of writing and drawing, but he's not getting work. This is one of the dark alleys of the comic book industry. I doubt that Bill went from writing solid work to being unable to write anything overnight. What probably happened is that his style or his approach was no longer considered financially viable. It's also possible that behind the scenes conflict could have played a role. Maybe he had a problem with someone or someone didn't like him. Maybe he was difficult to work with. None of that seems likely to me. When you look at his list of work, if he were a problem for folks, I don't think he'd have gotten as much work as he did. Maybe the people he knew left the business, and so went his avenues for new work. This happens in the industry, and the really ugly part about it is that this happens because of a shift in management. It usually has nothing to do with the person's ability to do the work. It's tragic that Bill is in this situation because he's still capable of working. He can still write. He can still draw. And this is where I'm going to get a little pissy. Many people working in the industry today who clearly don't have a passion for it, who clearly aren't interested in telling good, engaging stories. I could rattle off a batch of comics written by people coasting because of cliques and identity politics. These people don't just have a job, they get hired by multiple publishers even though most of their books tank. They're getting all these jobs while someone who really wants to make a comic can't get work. And let's not stop there. How many times do we see the same writer on 3 or 4 different titles? Why not give one of those books to someone like Bill? It's insane that the industry throws away people who can still tell stories and does it in this way, leaving them virtually destitute and forgotten. If you want to see how sad this can get, go and watch Batman and Bill. It's about Bill Finger, the guy who created everything that's cool about Batman, who was scrubbed from Bat's history mostly by Bob Kane, who took all the credit. Bill Finger died alone in his apartment. He was broke, even though he had worked on tons of comics and TV shows. The truly horrible part is that no one knew he was dead for days. We can do better than this. The people who bring us so much joy shouldn't end up like this. Both Bills deserve better than this. Now, I did email Derek Kevra to see if Bill Messner-Loebs had a direct GoFundMe set up. Unfortunately, he doesn't. Derek stated that Bill would prefer the station gather a list of those who want to get in touch with him, which they'll give to him later. Derek's email can be found at the bottom of the article, which I'll link to below. There is a GoFundMe link at the end of the article for the Severe Weather Network. It's apparently the only emergency housing option in the area. You can donate to that if you like. I did ask Derek to keep people informed if Bill sets up a GoFundMe page. In the meantime, if you want to help, you can email Derek to let him know, and hopefully that information can get to Bill. You can also support organizations like the Hero Initiative. It's set up to help creators like Bill who end up with financial difficulties. You can go to theheroinitiative.org to donate. Another thing that we can do is contact some publishers and let them know about Bill's situation. They might be willing to hire him if people bring enough attention to his problems. It really is inexcusable that he's in this situation, and that's true for many creators. It's a shame that folks who are still able to and want to create don't get the chance to do it. In Bill's case, part of the reason he's not doing creator-owned work is because he has to work regular jobs just to make ends meet, and that doesn't leave much time to draw or write. Would it hurt anyone to give him a miniseries? So let's share Bill's story with publishers and let them know that if they give him a book to work on, we'll buy it. Let's see if we can't get Bill some work. Share this video and any video about Bill's story and link to the article. Share it with as many people as you can so we can help him. Thanks for listening.